A Baptist priest with a huge boner walks into a bar.
Fuck you, I piss in your face. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another edition. That's right, another edition of SMB, a South Park review. Each and every week, me and a gaggle of individuals break down and review South Park for you in the near future. Darren, this is going to be my last South Park podcast in the state of Arizona.
Oh, I thought you were going to say ever. I almost had a heart attack.
Never, unless the show stops. But this is my last, as I kind of revealed on the last podcast, we're recording this ahead of time. So at this point, when you're listening to this one, now I'm either about to get to Connecticut or I'm about to get out of Connecticut because I don't technically have to be there till the 4th, and the 3rd is Wednesday, so who knows where I'm at. But right now, just know that I'm traveling up the East Coast, and I hope you're thinking about me as I'm on the road. I hope you're listening to this episode, but I am not alone. Dane unfortunately had to skedaddle. We did this back to back. He unfortunately it was late for him, so he had to get to bed. Scoop, of course, doing family stuff, so we weren't unable to catch up with him. Joe, of course, Pro Wrestling, Primo's Pro Wrestling, checking out, but making his way back to the podcast once again. It's the D Train 3000. The guy spinning those beats for all the people in their seats. The guy engineering sound for the guys running round. It's Darren Hart. See, I made up a good one there.
Hey, that was good. I like that.
Thank you.
How's it going? I would say it's good to be back, but we talk every day.
We talk every day. Discord, yeah.
That might get tricky with going to the East Coast. Speaking of, and I wanted to say, since we are recording this in advance, do you have anything to say to Future Road Matt?
Future Road Matt, because you're going to be listening to this, Matt, when it comes out on the road. I know you really want to listen back to your podcast, you weirdo. Be safe. Take deep breaths. Enjoy the journey in which you're on. Get ready, because you're about to get to your new place. So, everything is going to be new, buddy. Relax. Take a deep breath. You're not going to know where things at, but don't get frustrated, because, really, it's new. So why are you going to get mad? It's out of your hands.
But also, you're going to get frustrated, and that's okay.
That's okay. Just don't react. You control how you react.
Where people get in trouble is they get frustrated that they're frustrated instead of just being frustrated the one time. That's where that's where it barrel rolls.
No, that's true. I
learned in therapy.
I don't have that problem. My problem is just, sometimes I know, and I remind myself daily, remember, Matt, you have the power to react. You control how you react. You get frustrated, but you still have the power to control how you react, because that's all we can do as humans, really, is how we react. Shit that happens around us, we don't always have control. So.
Well, and I've had to learn that real tough at work with the job that I do, as because you used to do it. And that is what I do. I make the bleeps and the blurps at the baseball stadium. I make the sounds and the music, and I take pictures for people's weddings and whatnot, and I'll throw that website right up there. But anyways, I'm happy to be back here.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to talk about more South Park, because this is SMB number 221. This is the 218th overall episode of South Park, as it first aired on October the 12th, 2011. In this episode, the small synopsis, if you will, if you take just one sentence, is about Cartman joining the Border Patrol. And really how that starts out is with this game of the Border Patrol versus the immigrants, in which they're playing, which again, as I just mentioned, this episode first aired back in 2011. Here we are 13 years later, and that is still a prevalent topic of discussion, even more so now, because as being reported, I'm not as adverse into geopolitical science or political science in itself. However, there does seem to be reports from different media outlets that there has been a mass amount of immigration individuals who have come into the country. So you've got people for it, you got people against it. And again, here we are now, kids out acting instead of cowboys and Indians or cowboys and robbers. We're doing Border Patrol and immigration. Did you ever play like a cowboys and Indians kind of game when you were a kid, or a robbers kind of game, robbers and cops or whatever, cops and robbers?
Yeah, I did. Outside, I think we probably all played some form.
Yeah,
of,
Cops and Robbers. I played that. I never played Cowboys and Indians. But
no, I mean, growing up on the West Coast, by then it was already a little too
taboo
to touch.
Cops and Robbers. We played that. That was fun.
Well, and also, yeah, growing up in some of those areas in California, you grow up around, and like in Washington as well, you grow up around Native American reservations, and it's a taboo real early in life.
By the way, we're talking about tag. When we say this, it's basically just tag one team as the cops. They tag other people while the robbers try to get away. And if they can tag all of their robbers, then they win the game while the cops try to tag everyone. Anyway, you get it.
Yeah. Yep.
Cops and Robbers, fun game. Or it's like you do capture flag style, or anyway, that was fun. Fun kid games, and that's basically what they're doing. So it starts off with the boys doing just that. Cartman and his team, they're trying to stop the immigrants from getting over into the base while they're all staying over at Cartman's house playing this game. And unfortunately for Cartman's team, they're not going to win because here's how they. This is the title as far as their teams. Okay, I've been saying Border Patrol versus immigrants because I don't want to. That's realistically what it is. They title their teams the Texans versus the Mexicans, in a game in which the Mexicans, led by the Butters and then Kyle, due to the other seeing the former as a poor leader, I mean Butters, and Cartman, who leads the Border Patrol, the Texans, and that's his backyard. That is the line, if you will, the border. So the boys are trying to get into the backyard, and they built kind of like this cardboard fort, if you will. All the boys successfully do, except for Butters, who gets lost. However, his absence goes unnoticed at first by the rest of the group until later on, Cartman actually has an epiphany where he wakes up in the middle of the night and he's like, wait a minute, Butters never came back. Thus, the game is not over. So that's a good point to start off there in the episode. Let's jump into our first clip of Butters and I'm sorry, not Butters, with Cartman and his team. Go ahead, Darren.
Gonna point out that I love that Cartman is first. His immediate concern is the game and not, is Butters all right?
Butters doesn't care. He just wants to make sure he wins this game. So here's U.S. border. Welcome to Texas there.
All right, y'all, keep your eyes peeled and your guns ready.
He spits out whatever.
Mexicans out there who want nothing more than to sneak past our border, and we gotta stop them.
Eric, you want to say hi to Grandpa?
Yeah, Mom, we're playing Texans versus Mexicans. God.
So as they're looking now upon the yonder, Cartman berates his team for not doing a better job of being at their positions, and as a result of this, you can see now here are the Mexicans.
I think we're gonna go back to Kyle being team leader. Oh, I'm not a good Mexican? You're a great Mexican, Butters, but maybe just not a leader of Mexico. Look, guys, all we need to do is split up and apply some good diversion tactics. We'll use the Texans' emotions against them.
Butters literally plays the best Mexican. In
He
this
does.
entire thing.
So here comes the Mexicans now.
Fat-ass Texan! All right, just because I'm Texan doesn't mean I'm fat. No, you're fat to begin with, chubby. Now you're Texan, too. Oh, yeah? Oh, yeah? Well, you're a fucking Jew, Kyle. And now you're a Mexican Jew. You dirty, no good Mexican Jew. Let's just see you try it, Ace.
Base. Now Stan gets in. So as Kyle suggests, his plan works. Now look, Craig's not paying attention to there. Clyde's not paying attention to getting in the base. So obviously Cartman freaks out. And then eventually everybody gets inside the base.
Rawled with the dialogue exchange. Yeah, we all need to stay focused, guys.
Oh, that's right. That's right. Cartman's like, why aren't you in your position? And Clyde's like, I was enthralled with the dialogue exchange.
Damn it. If you let yourselves get distracted for even 1 minute, we're going to be overrun with these jobless, no good base.
Tolkien.
Dude.
I was like, here he comes.
The fence, Craig. I didn't hear him coming with all your screaming.
Another one.
I didn't hear it with all your screaming.
But he's fucking screaming, Craig. Wake the fuck up. Base?
Even Jimmy.
Oh, God.
And that's when Cartman knew
He's the one
it was
distracting
over.
him.
But that's when Cartman knew it was over. When Jimmy could get in, on the crutches, not to be an arse, but if Jimmy can get in on the crutches in your base.
Jimmy's proved to be pretty versatile with those things.
I'm just saying he's probably not the fastest, and there's probably some obstructions with his crutches. So if he was able to get into the base, at that point, Cartman knew this game is over.
Poor Cartman.
Well, now they're eating dinner. They're talking, right? He's poor Cartman. He's upset because his team lost.
So then the Pope says, Maybe you should go check the toilet.
So Cartman's gonna lament here, and then Kyle's gonna kind of put him in his place. Like, dude, then why did you invite us over to your for a sleepover if you're gonna be an asshole?
Hey, I got one. Why do girls wear makeup and perfume?
Why?
Because they're ugly and they stink.
Different.
Cartman, stop pouting that you lost the game. I'm not pouting. I've just heard all these jokes before. So then don't have a slumber party if you're going to be an asshole.
Right?
At least I have an asshole, Cal.
Even Kyle thought that was kind of funny. That got him. There is a person missing. His name is Butters. Somehow Butters has gotten lost. He went the wrong way, guys. He went the wrong freaking way. And now Butters.
Boy, I'm really good at this, Ted.
The last of the Mehecans.
I had one simple direction. Go that way.
Go that way.
How did I end up getting lost? My amigos were right. I am a lousy Mexican.
I am.
I'm stuck out here in Mexico. I am the last of the Mehecans.
The last of the Mehecans. It bugs me for the entire episode all the way up until he says it.
I was getting up here to show this. Like, I got this here. I'm gonna take it off full screen for a second. I got this Montequilla.
Put it like in front of you because it's out of focus. It's because of the blur thing. Yeah, there you go.
It's a Montequilla.
Mantequilla. That's sick. I like that a lot.
Montequilla pin that I got.
Oh, that would be a cool card.
All day long. We're going to jump forward here. As Butters is still lost, we're going to have this couple that kind of almost, I guess they do run down Butters, if you will, and they think he's Mexican. Now, Butters on the road. Cold, snowing. Here comes this couple now driving down the road.
Darling, the storm is getting worse.
It sure is. I can barely see.
Oh my God, look out, it's a Mexican!
And they hit Butters. So now the thing is, they think it's a Mexican, even though Butters can plainly talk English to them. So I feel like these people are just fucked up in general.
That's honestly one of the funniest parts of this episode. is them. They're just complete, no pun intended, but snowblind to the fact.
Oh my gosh.
Like speaking English.
Oh my God, are you all right?
I have to get across the border. Mis amigos. My amigos are waiting.
Poor thing must have snuck across the border and then lost track of his family.
Montequilla, the last of the Mehecans.
It's talking English. They take him back to their house. Okay.
I just want to say Butters is just such a treasure to the whole world of animation and animated cartoons. That's all I wanted to say. He was such a treat to the entire world of digital media.
So he comes back. He comes here, and there, as you can tell, there seems to be some sort of very loving Christian family. It looks like
Guest room, bed, pillow. You're going to be okay. Do you understand?
Darling, I don't know if we can keep him.
What are we supposed to do? Call the police and have him shipped back to Mexico like some animal? Window.
Yep, window.
Bueno! He'll have so much more opportunity here than he ever would in Mexico.
Stupid. This is so ridiculous. Butters is just a kid, and he really just needs an opportunity.
Window. Windex.
He hands him a bottle of Windex.
Montequilla. Paper towel.
The whole thing is so messed up.
See, Montequilla.
Be sure to get the edges.
Oh, darling, it's wonderful.
Okay. So now, as I mentioned, here comes the nightmare. The boys, you know, they've been playing some vomit copy. It looks like there's a game there. And
Guitar Hero.
We got a Guitar Hero. We got like some sort of Game Gear, or I'd say Atari Lynx game system.
No Heroin Hero in there?
Maybe a PSP or something. Yeah. They're playing Monopoly. They're all passed out. So now Cartman is going to have this nightmare, and his nightmare is about the game that just happened.
Yeah! Must protect the border! Everyone's getting through now! God!
If we take a quick pause here, we can take a look and see. We've got Jimmy, we've got Dog Poo, we've got Kenny, we've got Craig, we've got Kyle, we've got Timmy, we've got Stan, we've got Clyde, we've got Tolkien. It's one of the whites. It's the whites kid. And then we got Cartman.
We're losing. Kyle got through. Oh no, now Stan's through. And Jimmy.
Man Bear kick kills him.
Mexican left is Butters. We got Butters. Hey, wake up, you guys. Wake up, losers.
So Cartman now waking everybody up. You know, they're all going to come to here, Darren. And Cartman's like, game is back on, bro. Game is back on. And even Kyle here, he's not going to be able to argue. It's the rules.
It's the rules. Them's the rules.
Them's the rules.
What are you talking about?
Oh, hold on.
Butters?
I'm gonna quote Cartman.
He was with us at dinner.
I'm sorry, I don't make the rules. I just think them up and write them down.
Well, fuck them and fuck you. I piss in your face.
Wait, was he with us at dinner? Yeah, I think he was. Wait. Butters is one of those people who you can never remember if he was there or not. Butters! Butters! Jesus, it's freezing out here. He could be dead. All right, man, rally up. There's still a Mexican out there and he ain't getting through. You haven't won yet. Game on! Game on! Game on.
He puts his mustache back on.
That's such a nice touch. It's so lazy, but it's so good. Cartman's too good at playing these characters. It's like the way he plays the like slave owner when he goes into EA Sports from one of the last episodes we did, one of the recent ones, and then this guy. Like, he's just too good at playing these characters.
I just noticed something. Do you see Timmy in the background? Obviously, he's playing a Texan. He's got those cop shades back on there. He looks like a badass. It's funny.
He's got the aviators. He's done that in other episodes too, I think.
But I just like that Kyle had that mustache sitting still in his pocket, ready. All right, game
It's
on.
slightly off-centered.
So here is Butters now at the Christian-loving family that hit him with a car and is now keeping him as a kid, a slave or whatever. And I believe we're going to go into a montage here with the Work Mexican Work song. Butters washing dishes.
Mantequilla, come to the living room. We have a surprise for you.
Oh, that's right. First, they get him a leaf blower here. This is a surprise for a kid.
Yeah.
Oh. Surprise! We scraped some money together and got you something.
It's a present, Mantequilla. Un presente.
Wow!
Un presente.
This is for me?
Oh, he's such a happy little Mexican.
Oh, that.
Do you like that, Mantequilla? Your very own leaf blower.
Oh my God, they're like treating him like a pet. It's so bad. It's actually what's worse is that they think he's Mexican and that they're still.
He's speaking full English. It's ridiculous.
And what's even worse than that is that even if he was Mexican, this is how they'd be.
This is how they would treat them. This is actually how people treat Hispanic people.
Well, yeah, no, it's a generational thing. Have you noticed? So I had growing up, I had to tell my dad a couple times where there'd be like, we'd have a couple guys we would choose to hire the Mexican guys at Home Depot as opposed to some company. Like we'd rather hire the people that we know need it more. And also if they're out there working harder, then they're out there working harder. And they were better workers and they deserve the money more than these random business owners. So that's who we paid. But my dad would like start standing out in the yard and watching them. And he's just curious. Like, he just enjoys watching it. But I'm like, Dad, you go inside, dude. You're treating them like they're your help. And like, that's what it seems like. I know that's not his intention, but our parents' generation did that more than us, but people did treat Hispanics like that for a long time.
Right. And they also, of course, think, Butters is going to have fun here using this leaf blower. That's why they got him for him, because that's supposed to be a stereotype. Oh, Mexicans have leaf blowers, so it must be fun for them, yeah. Right?
That's what I mean. They're standing there enjoying themselves, and this guy's working his ass off.
Oh, look at him, darling. He's so happy.
No, Mantequilla. You're just blowing the leaves from one side to the other. Get them in one pile so you can use the garbage bags we loaned you.
Oh, si, senor.
Loaned you?
Butters. Si, senor.
Just how they frame it. The garbage bags we loaned you.
All right, so here comes that montage with the song with Butters as he's going to be doing all these chores.
Work, Mexican work.
All week now.
So now he's collecting leaves here. In the prior clip there, while they were outside watching him, he was washing the car. I'm gonna turn down the music a little bit just because it might be copyrighted. And then you've got as this montage is going on, you've got the boys. They're posting flyers everywhere because Montekia, aka Butters, has been gone now for a while, at least more than a day. Because the next day, he's at these Christian family home. And now here he is giving them a manicure, pedicure, whatever it is with the feet thing, as they're hanging out and, taking advantage of him. Now he's cutting some sort of, I'm guessing, roast or ham as they're having dinner. Ham, maybe. And then doing dishes. And again, the whole time, all Butters has is just a little bit of dirt on his face. They think he's Hispanic. And now you got Stan and Kyle as the Mexicans still putting up a poster. Anybody seen Montekia answers to Montekia.
Butters would stain character for this.
Right. And now, of course, at night, Butters here, of course, blowing away the lawn there. So now, just to kind of, break from the clips for a moment to get back into more of the recap here. It's at this point, Butters, he basically getting tired of doing this thing, if you will. So Butters itself says he needs to leave. And how he frames it, though, is he's still being Montekia. So he says he needs to be with his own kind to be happy. Now, of course, in Butters' mind, what he's actually referring to is he needs to find the rest of his friends to get back to the game and finish this game up. However, the couple interprets it as that Butters needs to be with his own kind, as in Hispanic people. So they abandon him at a El Pollo Loco restaurant. I also want to say a shout out to El Pollo Loco because I believe it was this time that's when El Pollo Loco actually opened up in Colorado.
I was about to ask because in the last episode, I was like, okay, we listed the fast food places. El Pollo Loco definitely wasn't in that. It had Chick-fil-A basically in its place. Were they there? Was it was it spot on like right before this episode, or would
it was probably? I would have to imagine it was probably right before this episode. Maybe we'll find out more in the trivia and pop culture section. But if I'm guessing right now, just not knowing, I would say it was that relevant because I remember moving to obviously living in Washington. There's no El Pollo Loco there, right? No. So and you being from Cali, you know what an El Pollo Loco is. So if you grow up in Washington and you explain what El Pollo Loco is, they're like, what? So I remember when I then got out of college and I got a job working for the news station or whatever out in Denver. I was like, oh snap, they actually have El Pollo Loco there. And then I was there when they first opened up In-N-Out, when In-N-Out finally came to Colorado. So I would imagine, at this time probably El Pollo Loco was so new, so they probably just made it part of the story, and it probably worked right into the fact that they were doing Texans versus Mexicans with the immigrants. It probably started with that. Let's talk about
because it's okay.
Let's talk about Texans versus. Let's talk about immigration. Oh, let's do a cops and robbers game, but we'll do it Texans and Mexicans. You know what I mean? So now back into the episode. Here's the girl, the Christian woman crying because again she believes Butters is saying he wants to leave, like go back to his own kind of Mexico. Stupid.
What are we doing wrong?
Honey, what's wrong?
It's Montekia. We've tried giving him everything, but I don't think he's happy. Tonight I told him he could do whatever he wanted before bed. Wash the windows, mop up our bathroom. But you know what he said? He said, I need to go home. I tried telling him your home is here, Montekia. Tu casa es aquí. But I don't think he feels it.
Well, maybe if we let him paint the garage, he'll feel more like family. And
stupid. Maybe if we let him paint the garage like it's a privilege. So here's now as I was saying, the husband, he's all like, oh my gosh, you can't pay, we could let him paint the house, but the woman's like, no,
Brian, in my heart I know it's true.
So now, as I mentioned, they're gonna take him to El Pollo Loco and just kind of abandon him there like a dog or an animal in a movie.
Ma'am, can I just use your phone?
Can I just use your phone?
My heart breaks for Butters in this moment. Right here, you paused it right at that moment, Matt. You broke my heart.
He just wants to use the phone. He's like, I'm just trying to go the fuck home. Like,
I know. It's so sad.
fucking Butters.
No es bueno, mantequilla. No me mires. Por favor. Por favor, no mires.
So they freak out, they leave, and Butters is like, okay. And he's just left there, dude. So now, of course, he goes into El Pollo Loco, and now he's sitting backstage with the Hispanic workers who are working at El Pollo Loco. Now, the thing is, now Butters being gone for at least, a week or so, we'll estimate. There's been posters around this kid all around town. So everybody kind of is on the lookout and knows who Mantequilla is. And apparently for the Mexican culture, now Mantequilla starts to become a symbol to them of strength, perseverance, overcoming adversity, right? And of course, it's a white kid dressing up. All the Mexicans can see it. It's a white kid dressing up to be Mexicans. And they come to the conclusion, wait a minute, if Americans want to be Mexicans, then what the fuck are we still doing here? So what would happen if they just all left? It's
so true though. Americans want to be Mexicans now.
Right?
I know, especially from California. So many people. Yeah.
Now Butters is sitting in the back with these Hispanic workers and probably just trying to talk out loud to see if maybe anybody can understand him because he still wants to go home.
So there I was, just yards away from the American border. All my amigos made it across, but I became lost in the woods. If the ripples hadn't come along, I might have froze to death. But I'm not giving up, for I am Mantequilla.
And they all stop.
¿Mantequilla? ¿Mantequilla? Yo he escuchado
I've heard of this kid. I've seen posters and billboards of him everywhere. Yeah, he's famous.
Nothing can stop me and my pride in Mother Mexico.
So, of course, Butters is now playing along thing. If he says the right things, they'll help him. And then they say, a white American who wants to be Mexican?
¿Que quieres ser mexicano?
Wow, times are really changing, says one guy.
No.
And then he says, no. You know what? Mantequilla is right, says the chef.
¿Sabes qué? Mantequilla tiene derecho. ¿Por qué venimos?
What did we come to this country? Or why did we even come to this country, says the head chef there.
A este país. Vale, madre.
It sucks here, man.
Hey, you fellas think you can help me get across that border?
Dude, and the thing is, Mexicans will be like, hell yeah, dude, we'll help you out.
They will. They are very. I've loved tons of family and friends that are Hispanic. So yeah, no, it's true. And then of course, now when Butter says, "Can you help me get across that border?" He's still talking about the game, Cartman's house, and they think he's talking about the literal Mexican border. So now here's how they respond. They respond like, "Yeah, let's do it. Let's get out of here. We should listen to this kid. Mexico's better than this."
All my amigos are there, waiting for me.
All my amigos are back there too. Come on, screw this, man. Let's go. Let's go.
Viva la Mexico!
So they all
right, let's get him into ER.
They all, of course, pile into a car and start to leave. And they roll up to this hospital and they yell out to all the Hispanic workers, the nurses and doctors. And they all start leaving. And then Butters is like in the pickup truck and goes, "Ole!"
Careful, my foot!
Oye, Jiménez, nos vamos a regresar, hombre.
We're going back, man.
Este lugar es una
This place
mierda.
sucks.
No regresamos.
We're going back to Mexico.
We're crossing the border.
Butters.
Martinez!
We're crossing the border. Jose Martinez, we're going back to Mexico. So everyone leaves. Butters. Ole! Every time.
This commitment gets him in a lot of trouble sometimes. This dude commits to characters and roles just all the way through, and he gets in trouble.
You know what's funny too is this is the same season because we just talked about this a couple episodes ago. Was of course the City Sushi episode where Butters has multiple personalities from Postman Butters to Inspector Butters, Professor Chaos, Big Rig Butters, honk honk. So like Butters definitely has the ability to commit to the bit. You are correct. It's a good call out.
He and Cartman they go all in, and then Kyle just throw his mustache on it, and it's like off centered, and he's like, all right, let's do this.
Well, it's interesting too because you have to also think that Cartman has taken advantage of Butters, right? Playing some of these characters, aka Osimo, and him pretending he was dead. So did Butters learn from Cartman? Because if you look now, maybe even in the later episodes, I think that Cartman and Kenny have kind of drifted away of being that quote unquote best friend. And I think Butters and Cartman would probably be more related in that best friend aspect, maybe more of like a dominant type of position, but they're still friends, if you will.
So that's interesting because I've always seen it that way. So, I said I kind of checked out a little bit during the first half of this season because of the time in my life that I was checked out. And then, so I actually kind of came back into South Park at right about this point. I mean, back meaning like I love South Park so much that I only really missed like a half a season that I had to catch up on, but that to me is missing a lot. And it came back to it, and this ever since then, I've been I always thought in the back of my head that Cartman and Butters were best friends. That was always just how it was. No, not Cartman, but thinking about it now, going back, it's like, yeah, it always was. Cartman and Kenny were kind of best friends.
The BFF, they had the rings and stuff like that, right? And then they had not the ring. I'm sorry, they had the necklaces where they did the whole thing about, and then it ended up turning into Cartman just wanting to take advantage to get a Shakey's Pete or get the. I'm sorry, he wanted to get what are those stem cells? He wanted to get stem cells approved so that way he could get his own Shakey's Pete.
Yeah. So I think you're right. I think we are in like kind of the turning point where it starts to turn into like Butters and Cartman being a lot closer friends than that's kind of just happening like right now, isn't it?
Yeah. All right. So let's go. We'll continue on here now with the Border Patrol. So here's what's going on now. The Border Patrol at the time, as we mentioned, it was still a hot topic as it is now. They're out looking to prevent Hispanic individuals, illegal immigrants from Mexico, Spain, South America. They're not all from Mexico, coming into the country. In fact, there's not even all from Mexico, from South America. Some are from Europe, or they take a boat into South America and then come up through that way.
That was actually the issue. We were hilariously going through the little Donald Trump soundboard last night that we ran across, and then I had the conversation with my mother today, and then she brought the same thing up, that it's like, wait, half of these people weren't Mexican. There were other South American countries that were coming up through Mexico as well.
It doesn't make any sense. So here, but in this case, they're going to get a big shock as the Mexicans are not trying to get into America. They're trying to leave.
They'll do anything they can to get into the land of opportunity. And as long as this country offers everyone a better life, there's going to be people clamoring to get in. It's the curse of success, Charlie. A great and wealthy nation will always be plagued by the needy.
And they're all leaving. What the hell?
Sir? Aren't them Mexicans running into Mexico? That don't make sense.
Now, it's interesting. Now, I don't know if there was a movie, you may have seen it. It was called A Day Without a Mexican. Have you seen that movie?
No, but that sounds like a terrible place to be.
It came out, I want to say, maybe around this time. It takes place in California. And it's like, what would happen if, I forget what it was about. It's just like all of a sudden the Mexicans are gone. There's no Mexicans. And because of that, no freaking infrastructure, whatever. Nothing is done. You know what I'm saying?
If we keep treating them this way, it might happen. I don't know, because we've already seen what happens, because we put a halt on immigration and all kinds of crazy agricultural things started to change. Like things became so expensive because they couldn't get people to do the work for cheap anymore, and nobody wanted to do it.
So I do want to correct myself. This movie actually came out in 2004, but basically, A Day Without a Mexican was directed by Sergio Rao in the historical directorial debut for him. A plot offers a satirical look at the consequences of all Mexicans in the state of California suddenly disappearing, with the mysterious pink fog surrounding the state, preventing any communication or any movement with the outside world. The film earned over $10 million at the box office and received generally negative reviews from critics. But that was from critics. Like, people, I don't know, if you watch, it's interesting, like the thought process in what they were trying to invoke, right? Well, you're not taking care of individuals who are doing all the dirty work, and if you actually go out there and try to do it yourself, 3/4 of the population wouldn't have the guts to do it, realistically.
That's what they were right, because that's what happened. We literally, like, still worked in the restaurant industry at the time, and I remember the day that the head chef walked in the front door and walked up to the back and said, "Take everything off the menu that has tomatoes." I was still living in California at the time. He said, "Take everything off the menu that has tomatoes. Take everything off the menu that has avocados." I said, "Why?" Because I would be the person that printed and designed the menus and stuff. And he's like, "We can't afford it anymore." And he's like, and he was a chef at like 5 different restaurants, because he wasn't often cooking. He was one of those chefs. He really fucking good. He had his other chefs cooking. He just made the recipes and the dishes and taught people. And he said, all of my restaurants are doing the same thing. And I don't know if you noticed, but you stopped seeing tomatoes as a standard in burgers at places, especially in California and on the West Coast. They used to like just throw tomatoes on every burger, and now that doesn't happen. There's places like it actually has affected how much we can get those things.
I don't know. I haven't experienced that here in Arizona, maybe in California, but
it's probably still, if you're far enough south, it probably hasn't changed too much, but it got significant with restaurants and like I have family friends that own restaurants that are saying, yeah, 5 years from now, you will not see tomatoes in restaurants.
Well,
period.
The interesting thing about all of this, obviously, is, there's two sides to it, right? I mean, because and it's hard because it's such I don't want to say a sensitive topic. It's only sensitive because everybody makes it sensitive. Mm-hmm. Realistically, what it is, yes, we do need immigration, because immigration does help our country continue to evolve. I mean, that's basically the basis of what our country is. All of our tech, anything that's developed here in America, is because of immigrants coming over here and bringing that tech and ideas and stuff like that. So those ideas are needed. However, on the flip side, there also does need to be some sort of control, and more that way, hundreds of thousands of people aren't all getting at once when the infrastructure of the cities aren't set up for that,
organized in some way. But at the end of the day, people just don't realize, like, it's not just Mexican guys working on farms that are immigrants. Like the guy that works for Google that's designing the chips that are going in some of your Wi-Fi systems is an immigrant.
Yeah, exactly. So it's just there's a lot of sides to everything and what you're seeing. So here's a news report talking about all of the Mexicans now leaving
Julio de Mantequilla, where Mexicans are realizing it actually is starting to suck more here in the U.S. Borders are being flooded with Latin Americans trying to get back to their own countries. Well, I think it's good. If the Mexican people feel inspired, good for them. People have a right to go and be happy.
And that's when Randy walks outside and he sees the craziest thing he's ever seen in his life. In the fall. Leaves everywhere, Darren.
Leaves and with snow.
Everywhere. Just everywhere. And his reaction is priceless. Here's Darth Vader. No. That's funny. South Park played a drop in their episode. That's good.
Yeah, that's subtle. I never noticed that until just now.
No.
But just what has sparked the Mexican desire to live in Mexico? Joining us now is analyst Mark Kiger.
Their healthcare.
So this guy explains it all. Now, while this is happening, Cartman's sitting on his couch. The boys are going to show up, and then we're going to be like, dude, you can't hang a flyer around that says Mantequilla, wanted, dead or alive. And he's like, or whatever. And
no, you can't do that. No.
He's like, oh, yes, I can. He's like, dude, if you put this around and Butters is dead, then you could have inadvertently killed Butters. And Cartman goes, then I inadvertently won the game.
Cartman is so weird that this is maybe the most questionable thing Cartman's ever done.
Well, I don't know about that. He's done stuff. He's done worse in the last season or two. I mean, he's just.
You're right. We could make that a whole episode. Top 20 most horrible things Cartman's ever done.
You know.
Cartman, what the hell is this? You guys.
Wanted by the U.S. Border Patrol.
I won. Give it up. Wanted by the U.S. Border Patrol? Permission to shoot on sight? You guys were putting out flyers. I had to put some out too. Butters has been missing for a week. You might have inadvertently gotten him killed.
Yeah, I inadvertently won the game.
Well, then I inadvertently won the game, didn't I?
The best though is Kyle has no comeback for this. Like,
You have what it takes to join the Border Patrol? Border Patrol
he had
officer-
no comeback, dude, because he's like, damn it. In his sick, effed up way, he's right. I have no moral argument back at him. All right, so here's continuation of that.
Officers are looking for volunteers to help with the reverse immigration crisis.
Oh, dude. Sweet.
So Cartman, of course, is going to get the idea, as you heard there, that inspires him to think, hey, I can actually become part of the Border Patrol. Now, crazy enough, Butters does make it across back the border with all his amigos. And because Butters has inspired all of this Mexican pride, he has now become the leader of the Mexicans. Unbeknownst to him, as we get a little sample, a little taste of the power that Butters has here. As Butters wakes up, nude, I might add, which is funny, with just his hat, scratches his butt. Now he's going to walk up to the door here. All these people are waiting for him. All cheering, as you can hear. This is great. Now, Butters, he's going to, stick his hand up, if you will, to try and like get some crowd control here, but doesn't understand that he now has the power to make them sing.
A legendary moment.
He has the power of, what is it, Darren? He has the power to make them sing, orchestrate. What's the terminology would you say he's able to do?
I actually don't know. All I do know is that it is a powerful feeling to be able to just stick your hand in the air and watch thousands of people do the same.
Like he's got like the ability to almost like a what's the scientific thing they did on pets where like they ring a bell or something like that and the dog reacts like on command. So it's like that. He lifts his hands and he can get them to react. And when he moves his hands from left to right or up and down, they'll sing or say different things.
Yeah.
So here we go.
Oh, I'm sorry. I don't really...
So he lifted his hands up. As he uses his right hand. Now his left hand. With his hand back up. Butters realizes he's got some power, right?
Yeah. Go Butters. This is one of my favorite moments. I'm a big Butters guy, and I'm happy for him here.
So now, as I mentioned, reverse border patrol. Let's go to the training here as Cartman's getting his reverse border patrol on.
Mexicans are trying to get past this fence and go back to their homes in Mexico. As Border Patrol officers, our duty is to stop Mexicans from crossing the border. We don't need to worry about the semantics of which direction they're going. We're supposed to stop them.
Who's going to stop them?
Don't care.
The Border Patrol weapon is the P-29 stun baton.
It doesn't matter which direction they're going. We just got to stop them.
They don't care why, how, what it is. And we got to stop these guys.
We're the Border Patrol.
Right? They're just doing their job.
So now they're going to get like these, I guess, tasers, if you will. These electric tasers, cow prottle looking things, prottle.
With the B-39 or I don't know.
Whatever these things are.
It carries a 4,000 watt charge and is your best option.
Let Cartman in, this kid.
Patrol law.
Sweet.
My gosh, Cartman.
The baton is non-lethal, but powerful.
Hey, we got some. Mexicans at 2 o'clock. Let's get ready, recruits. Must be a couple dozen of them.
So now, as you can see here, all of these Hispanic individuals are getting ready to try and leave. Now, I believe their first thought is to try and flood them.
This is the U.S. Border Patrol. Stop where you are. Turn around and get back to work.
There's too many of them. We're going to need backup.
Oh, no, that's what it is, Cartman. So Cartman gets the ingenious idea. We're going to need backup. That he's going to let out some water here from this Border Patrol tank. I'm assuming for the guys who work there. And then he's going to throw his cow prottle electric taser thing into the water, which will electrocute the Mexicans. I don't think they want to kill them. But you know, it is stopping them from crossing the border, so it makes everyone.
Cartman doesn't care. Remember, he'll kill Butters.
I'm just saying, and that's not the point of the job. So you would think that the border patrol people would be like, "Hey, dude, we can't do that," but no, they're proud of him. He's gonna come in the water.
Oh, yeah.
They're looking around. They're like, "What?" And then throws the water, throws electricity, and they all get electrocuted. And
That's diabolical.
They perish.
Pretty good at stopping Mexicans, son. What's your name?
Cartman.
Eric T. Cartman. Now, Cartman has officially joined. So now we kind of do a montage. The news is talking about it, where the Border Patrol is now arresting Mexicans and taking them back to the cities where they were at.
Start in San Francisco.
San Francisco. They dropped them off there.
Patriotic, tireless. These are the men and women of the U.S. Border Patrol.
And Dre's doing the voiceover here, like for a U.S. Border Patrol, like PSA to sign up and become part of the team.
They work around the clock protecting America's prosperity. They are the front line in making sure Mexicans stay here and work.
Making sure the front line. You see Cartman pointing.
And this would happen too.
You're right. This would be some American shit, dude.
This would happen.
But the funny thing is that it would happen, but it would be the reverse because, right, you've got the Republicans who would be so happy at first. They'd be like, yeah, let them leave. But then you'd have the Democrats who would actually be fighting. So it would just cause a lot of fighting too. It'd be
sketchy.
It'd be sketch.
The Border Patrol is uncompromising, diligent, and care.
I'd be going with them.
Defend, arrest, and most.
So Cartman points down here in Arizona. Of course, it's being relevant to me. This is a pretty actual, real sign you can find where one points to Tucson, Arizona, and the other one points to Nogales, Mexico on the side. And Cartman walks up the sign and he flips it.
Let the Mexicans know that
now, I will say I don't believe there'd be double-sided, but it's funny.
they are way better off here in the United States.
He goes in the line.
They're way better off here in the United States.
So while that's going on, we mentioned the Mexican Pride. Dias de Mantequilla is now happening as Butters is being celebrated all over Mexico. There's dancing. There's piñatas. There's a Mantequilla guy who's dressed up. Like a white piñata.
That's a scary ass looking piñata.
It is a scary ass looking costume for sure. So now Butters is going to have a conversation about, being part of Mexico and how everybody, loves him. But basically he says he's got to go home. And, the Mexican mayor, I think is who it is, or governor, basically gives a really nice heartfelt speech to Butters in Spanish. But Butters doesn't understand a single word of it. He's like, you know what he just said? I don't speak Spanish. So Butters has no idea what this guy says to him. They're using this piñata. Has a bunch of paint come out.
He likes.
Oh, that's right. They give a speech. Today we celebrate the first day of Mantequilla. So we'll get past that. We'll go past the speech. Here's Butters.
Appreciate my amigos back home. I know they're waiting for me, and I'm sure they're all worried sick.
Now, they understand Butters, even though he speaks English. So they're like, Mantequilla, we get, you have a decision to make. The United States is on the decline. And clearly, Mexico will quickly become the better place to be. But as we Mexicans know, nothing is more important than family and friends. That is true. You're welcome to live with us, Mantequilla. You must follow your own heart. Do you want to stay here with us? Or do you want to go back to your amigos? This is funny. They're like, Butters is sitting there. He's like going back and forth. They're making it look like he's thinking. And then Butters just looks up and he says,
what did he say? I actually don't speak Spanish.
This is the first time in the entire episode that Butters is Butters.
What did he say? I don't speak Spanish. All right. So before we get into the conclusion here, if you will, and they explain what's going to break down. So now at this point, right, we've got Cartman. He's at the border, right? And we got Butters, who's a Mexican, Mantequilla, and he wants to come home. So what happens when Butters tries to get to the border? Well, it's game on. And then we have a montage of different sequences of Cartman trying to prevent Butters from getting back into America, because now they realize that this is the finality to their game.
We tried. The Mexicans all got across the border.
When we asked Obama to stop illegal immigrants, we didn't mean to make the U.S. so shitty they wouldn't want to come anymore.
Hey, wait a minute! It's a Mexican!
They see Butters there, Montequilla in the distance. And as I mentioned, then once Cartman takes a look.
That should be its own movie. Montequilla in the distance.
Right? Montequilla in the distance.
What the fuck are you doing? Get that gate open!
Now Cartman pulls up. Cartman pulls up his binoculars, takes a look.
Wait a minute, isn't that... Game on!
Game on.
Game on, Butters. Yeah.
Fucking Butters. So fucking vicious.
Yes, dude.
He just shows up right at the border. Game on.
Didn't think they'd be able to beat the moment of him like raising his hands up and getting all the Mexicans to fucking cheer for him. But this one right here, this is the best moment of the episode. Is that game on?
And the thing is, as you heard there, the Border Patrol now wants to let the Mexicans in, but Cartman is now going to have to fight. Cartman's going to fight the Border Patrol and Butters, basically Butters to try and not let him get in.
Oh, no, you don't.
Starts shooting at him.
Fuck are you doing?
That asshole is not getting across my border.
Now Butters, he tries to climb the gate here, and Cartman intelligently, seeing that everything is made out of metal and wires, knows that he's got this cattle prong thing, and it will conduct electricity. Runs up to Butters here on the gate, pulls out his prong, and electrocutes the gate. That was a smart move.
I'll get over. No, you won't, Butters.
Now they're gonna do some parody type of old school animation, right? We have tropes. As Butters is going to get on a donkey, a jackass, as well as Cartman is as well.
You wouldn't try to get over right where there's Border Patrol. Like they're so many miles away from where Border Patrol actually is when they cross the border. Like it's nothing like this. But for the sake of comedy, here we go.
Comedy. And they start chasing after each other. Or at least Cartman's chasing after Montequilla. And now this is where it starts to get funny. So apparently, you got your, I guess they're called jackals or people who bring people over the border, whatever they're called. Someone's out there. They're doing commentary for the Mexicans because now the Mexicans are sitting around a radio listening to it like it's a soccer game.
Una arma del El Niño Gordo.
He just called El Niño Gorgo. Is that what he called him?
Yeah.
So here is Cartman again. Now he's being shot at by the Border Patrol. They're trying to stop him.
Border Patrol.
Now they've somehow ended up in boats on water. They've traveled pretty far here.
Montequilla on the boat.
Montequilla on the boat being chased by Cartman and the USS Border Patrol boat. And he's being shot at and taken down by the USS Border Patrol helicopter. And now, apparently, that still hasn't stopped him, as now Cartman is able to get on an ATV.
Yeah, like, how do you get away from them?
And how did he get on the ATV? Yeah. And hold another gun.
Where the fuck did he go?
And now there's Butters there in the background on a donkey. Or at least that's what we're led to believe. As Cartman now chases after him.
Sucker.
He's shooting after him. You can kind of see it there, too.
Yeah, you can because nothing's moving.
Yep. He crashes on Butters, and we find out
Game over, Butters. You lose.
that it's a piñata. Unfortunately for him, Cartman has once again been outsmarted as Butters gets onto the other side, and he yells,
Yes.
Base!
Base!
El beso.
I watched here. So Butters gets back into the country and gets back in America. Now the game is finally concluded. They can go back to Cartman's house once more and eat pizza and celebrate. And this is where the episode is going to come to a conclusion with Butters saying, next time I should be the leader of Mexico. And Kyle and Stan are like, dude, it took you how many weeks to get back from Mexico? Like, you're a good Mexican. You're just not a good leader. And then it's going to end with Butters standing up and trying to take control of the Mexicans, but Cartman does not care and tells a joke. So here we go as we finish up this episode, another edition of SMB, a South Park review.
So then the fireman says, that won't even fit in my scrotum. Stop being a pouty little bitch because you lost, Cartman. I'm not pouting. I'm just sensitive to fireman jokes because of 9/11 and the... Fuck you, Cal.
I'm just sensitive because of 9/11 jokes and fuck you, Cal.
Hey, maybe next time I can be team leader. I think we'll stick with Kyle, dude. You made it across the border, but it did take you 2.5 weeks. Yeah, you're a great Mexican, Butters, just not a great leader of Mexico.
Well, Butters going to show you that he actually is. I beg to differ, as he thinks, as he's going to stand up on his chair, lifts his arms, and then the boys all of a sudden hear the sound. The baby here.
Yeah.
Nakia. So, but the funny thing is, Kyle does kind of look impressed. Nobody else seems impressed. And Cartman's like,
a Baptist priest with a huge boner walks into a bar.
Oh my goodness.
Nice.
And ladies and gentlemen, that is how the episode actually ends and goes off the air. That's the last line. So that's going to do it for this side. We'll be right back on the other side with some more trivia, pop culture, and more. We'll be right back. Subscribe to Suck My Balls, a South Park review on Spotify, Apple's, iTunes, anywhere you want to download a podcast. Just type that in, subscribe to our feed, and you'll get the latest, greatest episode each and every week. You can also listen to us on YouTube and go back and watch some videos or any of our library. It's all there. Suck My Balls, South Park review. Welcome back now on the other side. Once again, shout out to our sponsors, presented to you by Spreaker. Go ahead and hit that like and subscribe button if you're watching right here on YouTube. Yeah, let's take a quick break here as why I go ahead and get this next side of the podcast started for you. Let's kick it off with some trivia now. As I tell you each and every week, that Joe is not here. Unfortunately, he's not here this week. I am not the 2022 Red Rocks Day 1 South Park Trivia Champion. I am not a trivia god, but I will do my best. Here is some trivia for you. Mantequilla, Butters that is, as the Mexican name is Spanish for butter itself. The episode did not air in Latin America, but it was dubbed in Spanish. The overweight Border Patrol agent is reminiscent of Joe Arpaio, who at the time, not anymore, was an Arizona sheriff vehemently against illegal immigration. God, he was a piece of crap. Then we move on here. Board game Monopoly, as I mentioned, was seen in the background there. Guitar Hero and Vomit Cop 7, as well as the Guitar Hero game in a 360. We also saw an Imperial Walker from Star Wars franchise, potato chips, soda cans, mommy toys, or a box labeled mommy toys. We saw the Antonio Banderas blow-up doll from Korn's Groovy Pirate Ghost Mystery. And we saw a small figurine of Shadow Hachi, Stan's Ninja Star alter ego from the episode Good Times with Weapons. We saw a poster of Optimus Prime from Transformers for the television show. We saw 2 Clyde Frogs are seen in the background of the party. A stuffed animal Peter Panda, as well as Rumpelstiltskin, is also seen in the background as well. And finally, here to finish up the trivia, Timmy Birch sleeps in his wheelchair at the party. After the game in the beginning, the boys are eating pizza. Jimmy is drinking water in a cup instead of soda from a can. This is probably from the fitness reasons, as we know, from his very conscious fitness appearance and up the damn steroid. Last 3, when the boys leave Cartman's house to look for Butters, all of Cartman's team are dressed for playing the game, while only Tolkien is dressed for the Mexican team. This is the fourth time the country of Mexico was shown. The first time was in Probably, and the last time was in Free Willsiak. And basically, when he's saying probably, it's do the handicap go to heaven? Probably, and then Free Willsiak, and now this. And then finally, Craig explains that Butters is one of those people who can never remember if he was there or not. This also can be regarded as a reference to season 5 finale Butters' variant episode where Stan questions, Butters went missing at the end. And ladies and gentlemen, that is your trivia. Now it's time to get into some pop culture. The title of this episode is a reference to the novel and movie The Last of the Mohicans. It's an actual movie. In a scene where Butters wakes up from his bed naked and opens the windows only to see a crowd of cheering people, this is a reference to the movie The Life of Brian. Of course, Matt Stone and Trey Parker are known to be Monty Python fans. The song Work Mexican Work is a parody of Harry Belafonte's Calypso hit Jump in the Line from 1961 and the Banana Boat song from 1956. As I mentioned, Randy Marsh's Scream of No is, of course, originally from Darth Vader at the end of the third Star Wars film, and a reference to the Blu-ray enhancements to the sixth film to include the line. This is the second time Randy's voice has been dubbed for no line, the first being in Something You Can Do With Your Finger. On that occasion, the sound was taken from the Star Trek First Contact. The Mexican workers leaving the U.S. from Mexico and other parts of Latin America is a reference to the 2004 movie A Day Without a Mexican, as I mentioned, a satirical comedy directed by Sergio Arias. I was right. When Butters wakes up in Mexico, a picture of a famous controversial artist, Frida Kahlo, can be seen on the wall behind him. The episode satirizes the topic of illegal immigration involving Mexicans trying to get over the United States border. However, the main plot involves Mexicans trying to get back into Mexico because life will be better there. References then current economic recession in the United States. This episode introduces a new spoof of real-life restaurant El Pollo Loco, which is Spanish for crazy chicken. The name El Pollo Loco was used in WTF as Kenny's wrestling name. That's right, they did reference that in the wrestling episode, I forgot. El Pollo Loco! And when Butters crosses the border and shouts base, the Mexican announcer yells, Beso, which is a parody of Andres Cantor, famous to American audiences for shouting goal during his narration of soccer matches. Beso is not an actual Spanish word. And that is your pop culture. And here to wrap this up, some storyline continuity. This is the first time we've seen Dogpoo Patitsky as a member of the Boys Gang. He was once, of course, one of the candidates for the new fourth friend in episode Professor Chaos, but was ultimately passed over in favor of Tweak. Cartman says, respect my authority in Spanish, which marks the first time the phrase has been used since the episode Margarine. This also marks the third time this season Cartman has reused one of his old catchphrases, which have been absent for several seasons. Of course, we talked about I'm not fat, I'm big bone in TMI. A toy truck can be seen behind Craig when Cartman wakes up to others. The truck is the Tonka radio, of course, controlled by Playdozer that Cartman received for saving South Park from the hippies and Die Hippie Die. Cartman is shown to use a gun for the first time that actually works, because other times he's tried to use the guns, say when he lost control, the gun was jammed in the episode of Wing, and when he lost control of the automatic gun in Cartoon Wars Part 2, where his handgun jammed. He also had a gun in 2 days before the day after tomorrow, but he never fires it. And last two things here of storyline continuity. Stan Marsh seems to be fully back to normal. He is cured of his cynicism, but he's also not shown drinking, so we don't know. And finally, when some of the Mexicans are crossing the border, a teenage girl can be seen that resembles the pregnant teenager in the episode Eek, a Penis. And ladies and gentlemen, that is your full recap. That is your trivia, your pop culture, your continuity. Since we got Darren here, Darren, you mentioned you like this episode. It's one of your favorites. Tell me what you like about this episode.
I'm a Butters man. I'm a big Butters fan. So you know what I'm saying? I like that smooth butter. Like I said, we should put just a stick of butter as your cover photo. It'd be perfect. No, I like the fact that it tells a really good story with Butters. You go all the way from the really sad moment where he's like, I just want to use your phone. And these fucking white I don't even know what to call them. Their parents,
white evangelicals,
whatever
maybe?
that hired him or whatever to do their work.
Well, took him in as a slave.
Took him in as I don't even know what to call that relationship. It was
hostage.
It was bad. Is all I know. Anyways, it's really sad when they drop him off, and then the whole story that plays out, ending in him having this entire Mexican crowd cheering for him. Like the storytelling was epic, especially if you like Butters a lot. Like him going from that really low moment that was really sad if you like Butters a lot to that like yes moment, and then even more so he adds to it when he comes up to the border to go back into the United States, and he says "Game on" when he sees Cartman. He's
Yeah, and I also like, as you might have mentioned when we were doing the first half of the trivia, of course, Mantequilla in Spanish actually is Butters. So it's a nice play on the word that they're using Butters there as well. No, I agree with what you said there as well. In my opinion, this is definitely one of my favorite episodes as well when it comes to this season. Obviously, I've got that pin that I've shown throughout the episode. This Mantequilla pin that I've gotten as a gift.
So I'm not stealing it.
It's a great episode itself. You get more Butters. Characters. We've gotten 2 Butters episodes this season, so they're definitely starting to lean more into Butters as a series regular in the season itself because he's become such a big hit with the fans. And of course they can do a lot more with Butters' character because Butters is supposed to represent that wholesome natural kid, so that kind of gets himself into situations that he doesn't understand because he is naive and 9-10 years old. So I think that representation there is it relates more with that audience, and gave Matt and Trey a lot more to play with than just doing the same thing week after week with the boys, because of course that's going to get old and they can only do so many certain things. Now you got to do it with Butters, and eventually we'll start getting more with Randy as they start to branch out into more storylines. So I'm
a huge Randy and Butters fan and always have been. Let me get closer. But moving on from this point, you get a lot of Randy and Butters. And so I'm a huge fan of, I know you'll always have the people that say the new stuff's not as good as the old stuff. And I'm one of those people with some things, but with South Park, I love everything from here on because they pulled my favorite characters and they got Butters and they got Randy and they basically made them main characters from here on out.
Right. No, that's good stuff here. Yeah. So definitely, I'd say as far as like top, it's definitely in like my top 50 to top 100 episodes. It's a great episode, Mantequilla. And then you got the song, which yes, the song for certainly is not something you're gonna sing out loud in public all day long. Boss man say work, Mexican work, but it is funny. It's a funny song.
It's funny.
It is a funny song.
And you mentioned maybe it being copywritten earlier. It's not any more than the audio of the actual video is.
Right, I know. I'm just saying you say that, but I'm the one that has to see all the Viacom stuff where they copyright it, and it's all of a sudden it's been turned into a freaking
random song because they had
it's been turned into a song. Yeah, they've copyrighted it
because the song was going to get turned into a meme that made a bunch of money, and it's like
well, ladies and gentlemen, that's gonna do it for another edition of SMB, a South Park review. I'll be back in this next week here, hopefully in my brand new apartment, all set up here. Maybe I'll have a fancy new background and whatnot. But we're coming back next week for Bass to Mouth. What happens when all of the school's kids' information, privacy secrets is being released onto the internet? You guys remember that website Gawker back in the day that was always releasing celebrities' information, paparazzi? Well, it's a parody of that. And of course, the Katata Fish wants to let you know that he never went bass to mouth. That's coming up next week on another edition of SMB, the South Park Review.
What did he say? I actually don't speak Spanish.
Bass to mouth. Bass to mouth.
Never went bass to mouth.